before I can get to the lime, I got to unload the truck, and I brought up another Leopold bench. You do a Google search online under Leopold bench, and it comes up with the plans for these. They're super simple to make, and they're actually comfortable. All right, I'll get this out of here and go set it by the fire pit. All right, here's my 3 Leopold benches sitting around the fire pit that we have not used yet. Basically on these things, the reason I like them is you see the angle on that back. Like this one, this is a small one I made. I considered it like a one-person one, so I kind of hogged the boards out on the side just to make it lighter, easier to carry around. But man, these things, if you need some benches, this is about the simplest configuration for a bench a person can make. And with the angle on the back, I don't know if it's showing up on the video, but you can actually sit and lean back and it's comfortable. And of course I got them sitting around this little fire pit that we have not used yet. But this thing's actually pretty sturdy looking, but time will tell how it holds up. We bought it at Northern Tool, and we hauled it up here and just haven't had a night where we felt like braving the mosquitoes to come out and have a fire. Soon enough though, soon enough. All right, I better get to spreading that lime. This is the crushed lime I like to use. I buy it at Tractor Supply just because it's the cheapest place I've been able to find it. I wish I could buy it in bulk, but there's no co-op around here that delivers in bulk. So I end up doing it by the 50-pound bag. All right, here we go. Well, the lime is spread on the field, now we'll till it. I'm gonna spray this little field here. You look around and it don't look too bad. I've tilled this thing 3 times and that's how much grass popped up still. So I'm not gonna play with it anymore. I'm gonna nuke it with some glyphosate, which should kill it faster than giving government handouts raises inflation. What we're gonna use is this little Northern Tool sprayer here. It's a 31 gallon. I just bought it this year, so I am no expert on this, although I did put it together. It comes in a box. The tank and the frame and stuff is separate, and the pump, so basically you bolt it together, which is about a 2-beer project, or roughly 1 hour in normal person terms, I guess. Seems like a pretty nice little unit. It's got a little hand so I can tow it around, and I can use the little hand sprayer too if I don't want to do a big area. So the 31 gallons with this glyphosate I'm using, it's 41% glyphosate. I bought it at Menards. This stuff, you're using 2.5 ounces per gallon. So what is that? 77.5 ounces, I think. My math may be wrong. It's early up here yet. It's early in the morning yet. But I put a little over half a gallon in there. You know, you got to put a couple extra splashes, you know. Can't hurt, can it? And the reason I'm doing this first thing in the morning is I'm going to plant this tomorrow. And on the label, it says you want to wait a day to plant. I know online I watch videos and people spray right over their seeds, say there's no issue. But I think I'm going to trust the people that made this stuff, and I'm going to follow their directions. All right, enough BSing. Time to get spraying. All right, I'm done spraying. So I'm gonna run a little straight water through there, clean everything out. That should be enough. All right, how do I get water up for my sprayer since I don't have a well? Well, I got these 3 different containers. And this container I kind of use for multi-purpose. It's got a nice little spigot on there. You can wash your hands or stuff like that. I bought these 2 at Fleet Farm. I had a couple of these. They're dirt cheap, but they're junk. I mean, they slide around. Say they slide around in a truck. They even look at something sharp, they get a hole in them. So I don't recommend these. But this one I love. The only downside of these is they're kind of expensive. And this is kind of like in the middle. You know, it's more expensive than this one, but cheaper than this. And I have a couple of these, and that's what I really like to haul water in, because they're handy, they're easy to carry, and they're durable, they're hard. All right, that's how I haul my water. All right, I got a minute, so I figured I'd talk about how I spread my seeds. I'd always use this thing. Phenomenal spreader, love it, love it. The only thing I didn't necessarily like about it was the price. But I had a loss of intelligence last year, and I ended up putting this in the bucket where it fell out, and it busted 2 plastic tabs off of it. It still works, but you don't have as much control over where the seed goes. So I really like this thing. But since that was broke, I figured I would try buying another one. This Earthway little bag spreader has great reviews, and you see people online using it and they love it. But I'm not a fan. I'm not impressed. As I was using it, first off, you'll notice it's got this cheap plastic lever here, and there's supposed to be a stopper. Well, when I was walking through the field using it, the nut vibrated off and the stopper thing fell off. But besides that, this cheap little plastic lever, it has so much flex in it, you could push it over the stopper. It's a real cheap cheap product. But the one thing it's got going for it, and a bunch fell out of it while it was sitting there, is this will spread sunflower seeds, whereas this consistently won't. The hole the seeds go through must be smaller. And so this one's no good for spreading sunflower seeds. So that's what this one will probably just be used for, is sunflower seeds. And I don't need to worry about the gate, because when I spread them, I'll have it at wide open. But this thing is probably 1/3 the cost of this one. So I understand it's not a fair comparison, but you definitely get what you pay for. And next year I will probably be buying a new one of these. All right, for spreading fertilizer, I use this cheap little box store walk behind spreader. And if the ground is flat, level, and smooth, this thing works phenomenal, works great. But if you're just tilled it and you have clay, clumpy soil, this thing is horrible. It's horrible. The wheels they aren't big enough or something, I don't know. It just catches and it doesn't roll smoothly. So, but there probably is nothing on the market that's really going to, unless it has bigger wheels. Probably the best option for the ground I have would be to get one that goes on the 3-point of the tractor. But I just figured I'd show it, because like when I have the clover fields, because them smooth out real nice, I can go over those super easy with this and spread some fertilizer or some lime, pelletized lime in with this. All right, I guess that covers the spreaders. Well, I can't very well talk about the spreaders and then not use them. See what I got here? I got some bird seed, black oil sunflower seeds. I've had great luck with these things growing after I spread them in the ground. Ah! It's tipping over. All right, she's full. So basically I spread these under the ground and then I just rake them in. On a bigger field application, I spread them on the ground and then I run over it real lightly with the tiller. See, this kind of flow you're getting with the sunflower seeds out here. Well, in amongst all this nettle is some concrete I need for my driveway extension. So I'm going to take the tractor and I'm going to start uncovering this concrete so next weekend I can break it up with a jackhammer. Alright, I'm going to attack this probably for about the next 2 hours and we'll see how far we can get. I'm not going to tape it because a lot of it's probably just going to be picking up this concrete and hauling it over and dumping it off. But I'll get the camera out in another 2 hours and we'll see what a guy got done. Well, it hasn't been 2 hours yet, but I figured I'd show you some of the stuff I dug out of the ground. Looks like part of an old drag harrow. And this is probably going to take a little longer than I initially anticipated. Woo! Almost went down. Houston, we have a problem. But as I'm going down to get this concrete out, it is loaded with these boulders. So I don't think I'm going to get very far on this in my 2-hour time limit before I move to the next project. But just figured I'd show you that because some stuff, like usual, looks easy, and then you start digging into it and oh man, not so easy. All right, I'll keep working. Well, I got 2 pieces of that concrete tipped over. Found me an old Mr. Cola, which I never heard of. But there we go. Now I'll move on to the next project. Why don't I stay working on one thing till it's done? Well, because I'm a out of shape middle-aged guy, and if I keep moving concrete all day, tomorrow I wake up and I ain't gonna be able to move. So I jump around and do different projects to kind of not wear myself out. But my next thing was I was gonna cut trees, but I don't know if you can see off in the distance, it is obnoxiously windy. So I think I'm gonna get out the brush cutter and I'll use that for a little while. Well, those being knocked down opens up that view. Now it's time to use the steel FS 560 and get the grass and berry bushes cut down on the side of this hill. There's actually a fallen in building up there, so basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to clear all the grass and the brush so I can get to that, and I may even spray some Roundup on it before I leave. Alright, I'll set it on time lapse and we'll get to work. Alright, there's nothing on the ground in the first like 10 feet or so until it gets to like right in there underneath all that cut down brush. There's a bunch of old rotten boards and metal from an old building. Because this hill is kind of misshapen, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start pushing dirt over the edge here so I can create a nice consistent slope from the top to the bottom, and it'll make it easier for me with nice level ground to dig the rotten wood and metal out of that spot. So I'm going to start at the top on this and work down. I'm probably not gonna get very far, but we'll see what we can do. Well, it's day 2. This project originally wasn't in my plans for this weekend, but I decided after starting to smooth some of that dirt off on that hill and level it out, that I'd like to get more dirt. So I came out here this morning and started digging, and this is part of the ditch system I have going here. I'm piling the dirt over there, but the goal here, after I dug the first section of ditch, I kind of learned that, well, you can't really clean it. So my goal for this ditch, and I'm going to try it out because I am by far no expert in ditching, but I'm going to put a gentle slope in this section, and I'm going to work it back towards that driveway with this slope. But then, in theory, when I go up that way with this ditch, I'm hoping to just be able to drive the tractor right down the ditch. I was going to make the ditch a little wider than the tractor. That way, in the dry season, I can always get in here and clean it out. I don't know. Sounds good in theory, but we'll see if it works. All right, and this mess here, there's willows growing in the ditch, so I'm going to have part of my spoil pile contaminated with a bunch of willows. That's all roots and willow pieces right there. So there's no shortage of it. But I'll get digging. Well, definitely not the prettiest hole I've ever seen, but it's getting a little greasy in the bottom. So this is where we're gonna have to leave her for now, because I can't get any traction to get any more out of there to get it cleaned up. But I did test it. I can get down in there and turn sideways. You can see my tracks. So I'm hoping to get in there, turn sideways, and use the backhoe and work my way up, just throwing the stuff out. This will be the only part of the ditch that's slanted like this. And that's a heck of a spoil pile, so I can use on that hill up front there to help level that off. I'd consider this a success. Success! Ha ha!